Alright, so hi everyone, very good evening to all of you. I hope everyone is good. So this is another session of Daily PIB where we are actually going to take into consideration various of news and we are going to decode that, okay? Alright, so without any wastage of time, I'm just jumping toward the session here. First news that we are going to do, as you can clearly see, this is 9th of December, and the first news that we are going to do is uh, basically exercise only, as in military exercise that has taken place between India and Malaysia. And that is called as what? That is Harimau Shakti, which is the strength of tiger, okay, which represents the strength of tiger. So this is important. I've already told you the importance of news if it is completely important from phase 1 perspective or phase 2 perspective. So remember, this news is entirely important from phase 1 perspective because defense related news is generally as in phase 1 and not in phase 2 if you're the one who's preparing for regulatory examinations, okay? Alright, next news says that DRDO hands over 7 indigenous technologies to Indian armed forces, which includes 3 of the forces here, as in these tri-forces, right? So from that aspect, it is actually very important. DRDO is the one who have who have handed over 7 indigenous technologies which are fully made in India. So we'll get to know about those 7 technologies, what are they, how they are actually helpful for the tri-services. This is what we are going to discuss. Next news says Putin's India visit 2025 and 23rd India-Russia annual summit, where every individual, most of the individuals know that why Putin specifically came in India, and that too recently. Last he was the one who came in 2021, and why it is important, why the visit is important, what are the deals that have been signed, what are the challenges, and we'll try to discuss various of the things which are associated with the Putin's visit only. Okay. So we will actually try to discuss that. The main focus is how Putin's visit is actually very helpful for India and maybe the relationship between India and Russia also. Okay, so that is what is the importance here. Next news says Earth Summit 2025 has taken place and there are actually a lot of things which are implemented, which are actually very important for ground person, as in those individuals for last mile delivery also, right? So that is what we are going to discuss here. Next news says that there is inauguration of 125 BRO infrastructure projects, and at last, very important, there are high chances a question can be asked in phase 1, plus it is important from the perspective of phase 2 as well, right? Because monetary policy is one of the core topics of your syllabus also. You people know already that monetary policy is actually one of the core topics of your syllabus. So this 5th bi-monthly monetary policy 2026 has taken place. In that, what becomes important? What are the instruments? What is the change in the instruments, right? If this is a cumulative stance, neutral stance, hawkish stance, we'll get to know about that. We'll also get to know about the status of CAD as well. Okay, so these are the things. Okay, what is the forex reserve also, है ना? What is the forex reserves as well? हमारे पास कितना ज़्यादा जो है वो फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स अवेलेबल है और कितना इंपोर्ट जो है हम कवर कर सकते हैं, ठीक है? तो these are the things which we are going to discuss today, and of course at last we'll try to discuss few of the questions as well. All right, for all of the new joinees here, this is the link of my Telegram channel, which is Economy with Payal. So everyone who's new here, the one can join it. This is Economy with Payal. All right, the first news clearly says that India-Malaysia joint military exercise Harimau Shakti 2025 has taken place. Now, on a very regular basis, we are actually, discussing about the exercises as well. Now, clearly telling you what is the significance of military exercises. Entirely, it is important from phase 1 only, because if you're the one who's preparing for regulatory examination, then very, very less chances, I would say, just equivalent to 0 point something chances are there if a question, you people are actually going to get one question on defense sector, okay? So, phase 2 में question तो generally नहीं पूछा जाता है, but yes, it is actually very important from phase 1 perspective. So, this is important. Now remember, they can ask you that Harimau Shakti is the exercise, is a military exercise, has taken place between which two countries, right? So remember, it has taken place between India and Malaysia. This one question is important. Along with that, they can ask you that, they can ask you about the personnel as well, right? So participants have been Indian Army and Royal Malaysian Army were part of it, right? Which edition it is? This is 5th edition. It means previously 4 times it has taken place, and this is the 5th time that this exercise is exactly taking place here. location actually becomes very important. So this is Mahajan Field firing range that has taken place in Rajasthan. So these many, this much of information, I would say, is more than enough from the examination perspective. There are high chances that they are going to ask you direct questions. Okay, so this is important. Country's name is exactly very important. Now, this location is also very important. Addition is also very important, right? Now, again telling you, remember, whenever exercise, as in military exercise, takes place, always remember this is from the perspective of bringing coordination and solving much of the purpose also. Now, just to increase the coordination between two of the countries, to strengthen the relationship between two of the countries, these kind of exercises generally takes place. Okay, so they try to conduct various of the drills. They try to go for various of the tactics also, right? They just try to engage in many of the activities as well, so that coordination can be increased. And of course, they talk about a lot of other things as well, so just to strengthen the relationships, right? So this is what is the significance of this particular perspective. And this has not specifically happened with India and Malaysia itself. These are the exercises which takes place, and these are the activities which mostly takes place in each and every exercises. Okay, so this much of information is just more than enough from the examination perspective. Now these are the quick exam hints. If you do not want to go through rest of the slides, if you want to see only one slide here, so I would say this slide is just more than enough, right? You can clearly see that India and Malaysia के जो बीच में है ये जो exercise है that has taken place. And when I talk about this particular activity, when I talk about Harimau Shakti here, remember this represents the strength of tiger. Okay, power of tiger here, right? Power of the tiger. So this is what is the significance of this particular exercise here. All right, coming on to the next news. This clearly says that DRDO hands over 7 indigenous technologies to Indian armed forces. Now, why it is important? First of all, it is important from the military aspect. Now, remember, Indian armed forces here includes tri-services. Okay, it includes tri-services here. Why it is important? Because DRDO for the first time has handed over what? Not for the first time, but DRDO has handed over 7 indigenous technologies here. It means completely made in India. Now, what becomes important from our examination perspective is to get to know that what is the significance of these many technologies which have been handed over by DRDO specifically to the tri-services here, right? Now, each and every technology in itself plays a huge important role in protecting our borders, in protecting or maybe in strengthening our armed forces also. Of course, I've already told you it includes tri-services, so it includes army, it includes navy and air force as well, right? So just remember it from that aspect here. Now, one thing is also very important here, that is the scheme. Okay, which scheme has facilitated this particular process? That is Technology Development Fund. So what we are going to discuss here in this particular news about 7 indigenous defense technologies, plus what is important, we'll get to know that what is Technology Development Fund initiative also. Okay, so these two perspectives are exactly super important from the examination perspective. Now you can clearly see by yourself here. Now here it starts with the sorry, when I talk about the 7 technologies here, the first technology talks about indigenous high voltage power supply. Now when I talk about the indigenous high voltage power supply here, now this is a kind of instrument, this is a kind of technology which is exactly going to help my Air Force aircraft to just power their self-protection jammers here, right? So this is from that aspect, which is exactly going to protect them from what? That is enemy radars. ठीक है, तो जो enemy के radars है, ये क्या करेगा? ये उनको protect करेगा. ये जो particular technology है, ये उनको protect करेगा. So just try to think it as equivalent, as something which is just equivalent to power booster, right? So what it is exactly going to do? Again repeating, this is indigenous high voltage power supply, which is IHVPS also. This is one of the technologies which they will be using for self-protection jammers here, right? So that if there is any enemy jammer, if there is any missile attack taking place, this technology is exactly going to protect them. Next is tide efficient gangway. This is a TEG also, right? You can clearly see on our screen itself. This is tide efficient jammers here, specifically when I talk about this particular technology here. All right. Now here you can clearly see this is the naval system that has been, that has been ensured here. This is tide efficient gangway, TEG for naval jetties here. Now when I talk about this particular perspective, now this is used at naval jetties specifically to make boarding and unloading what that is safe even when the water levels rise or maybe fall with the tides. So just to give them protection from the tides, maybe which have taken maybe enemy face here, which are specifically super high, right? So कभी भी अगर जो tides है वो बहुत ज़्यादा भयंकर रूप लेती है ना, तो this is exactly going to protect them from what aspect, that is specifically accidents here, right? Now next, when I talk about the technologies here, this is specifically advanced VLF HF switching metric system here. Now when I talk about this particular technology, it is actually going to help tri-services here, right? It is actually going to help Army, Naval as well as Air Force also. Now this particular technology, when I talk about advanced VLF switching matrix system here, this is going to help communicate very securely, and that too during what purpose, on different of the radio frequencies. तो ये क्या करेगी, उनको help करेगी communicate करने में. Even if the radio frequencies are exactly very low, this particular technology is going to maintain that particular communication, right? Because there comes time when the situation as in the environment is not so good and the environment is not very communication friendly also, right? So this particular technology is going to help them in maintaining communication, in ensuring that the communication is exactly in a very, very robust manner, in a very, very powerful manner also. So this is what is here. Next is what that is VLF loop aerials for underwater platforms. Now when I talk about this loop aerials here, na, you can clearly see this is for underwater platforms here. Matlab, it will be used by submarines, it will be used by underwater vehicles here. It clearly means that. Now this is actually very important for silent underwater communication. It is also used for communication itself, right? But this is used as what? That is silent underwater communication without surfacing. Okay, so this is what is the significance of these many technologies. So we have already covered 4 technologies here. Next says what? This is indigenous water jet propulsion system for fast interceptor craft here. Now this is used for what purpose? Maybe to boost capacity, right? So this is specifically water jet here. Now, of course, when I talk about the water jet here, now you can clearly see it is for what purpose? For fast interceptor craft. So it means this will be used by the naval forces for sure. So it powers fast naval interceptors here, maybe interceptor boats here, maybe equipments that they are specifically doing. अब ये जो फास्ट सिस्टम है या फिर जो ये जो रॉबस्ट सिस्टम है, ये क्या करेगा? उनको हेल्प करेगा फास्ट मूव करने में, स्पीड लेने में हेल्प करेगा, सो दैट अगर कभी भी कोई भी ऐसा एनवायरनमेंट है विच इज फुल ऑफ एनिमी एनवायरनमेंट फॉर से, so they will be able to protect themselves from that particular environment, right? Next is what? That is long life sea water battery system for underwater sensing and surveillance also. Now here you can clearly see it is associated with battery system, and this is long life sea water battery system. So in it clearly gives what? It is actually going to give them better power generation, क्योंकि जो power backup है वो तो चाहिए चाहिए है ना. So this particular system, this particular technology is exactly going to give them what? That is strong power supply. Remember, this is long duration power supply for underwater sensors here. So just remember it from that particular perspective. This is exactly what? This is long life sea water battery system. Okay. Next is what? That is energy and materials. Associated with energy and materials here, this is novel process for recovery of lithium precursors as well, right? Now here, when I talk about this particular system, you can clearly see this itself talks about it. This is novel process for recovery of lithium precursors here. Now it clearly says it's a kind of system which is going to recover lithium from old lithium ion batteries. It is just equivalent to recycling part itself, right? So that it can be reused, because you already know when it comes on to ensuring the availability of the lithium, or maybe when it comes on to ensuring availability of critical minerals in India, it actually becomes very hard to consider. Now, this is also the reality that we are having National Critical Mineral Mission also. specifically recently government came up with a recycling process itself, so that हमारी जो dependence है foreign nations के ऊपर वो कम हो सके, और जो हमारी dependence है इस particular mission के ऊपर वो भी थोड़ी सी कम हो सके. जो हमारे e-waste है हम उसमें से recycle करके क्या करें, ये जो critical minerals है उनकी availability करवाएं. So here it clearly talks about this particular system. So it's a kind of system only which is worth of recovering lithium from the old lithium ion batteries, so that we can make use of that. Because just always remember, lithium is exactly very rich in getting used where, that is EVs, in the defense technologies also. चाहे वो missiles है, चाहे वो drones है, lithium availability is exactly super important. So these are the initiatives which have been taken. These are the 7 technologies which have been handed over. Now this is not, the full stop doesn't come here, right? Of course, there is a new approval for new projects as well. How many new projects? That is 12 new projects. Okay. Now here it clearly says that, see, it was possible, the government itself says that it was possible just because of this particular initiative, which is Technology Development Fund Scheme. Now, when I talk about Technology Development Fund Scheme, this is specifically to facilitate funding system, क्योंकि बहुत सारे private individuals भी यहाँ पे invest कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? This is just to facilitate it. Now, the establishment of this particular initiative has been seen during the Union Budget of 14-15 here. Implementing agency is DRDO, just to achieve what? That is Atmanirbharta in defense sector, also in defense technology as well. What is the area of focus? कि whatever you are importing from outside world na, just ensure bringing availability of that in India only. That is Atmanirbharta in defense sector also. So just remember it. Okay, this is all about this particular news. So I hope that these 7 technologies are crystal clear to all of you, and I hope you got to understand that what are the new approvals that has been given. I hope this is also clear that what is Technology Development Fund Initiative also. Okay, so these are the news which are exactly very important. Next news says that Putin's India visit 2025 and 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit has taken place. Recently, of course, you people know that for managing, or maybe for just strengthening the relationship between India and Russia, what has happened? Of course, Putin's visit has made recently. And we have, the occasion was what? That is 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. So, of course, the core strategy we are going to discuss today, what was the things that were discussed, how it is exactly very helpful for our India to grow, and what are the other aspects associated with it. Now, people already know about this thing, कि जो Putin ने visit करा था last time, that was the year of 2021. And this doesn't mean that we have started, strengthening our relationship since 2021 only. जो relationship है India और Russia का, that starts, or maybe that we can see its traces back in 1971 as well, right? So you can clearly see I've just written a very, very brief history about it, so that the interested students can just see it, right? Now, all right. Now, when I talk about the summit that has taken place now, I'm going to make this entire news very crisp and very, in a very crux format here, right? बहुत ज़्यादा brief रहेगी, बहुत ज़्यादा crisp रहेगी, क्योंकि बहुत ज़्यादा भी important नहीं है, but yes, important भी है, ठीक है? So we cannot even miss it out. And of course, बहुत ज़्यादा जो emphasis है वो भी नहीं करना है, but हाँ, important है, ठीक है? Now here it talks about bringing relationships, that is political diplomatic engagement has been part of it, where high level of exchanges has taken place. In terms of what? Now, it clearly says that recently India has announced that India is going to, ensure, new consulates in specifically Russia here. That is this Kazan and Yekaterinburg here as well, right? So these are the 2 areas where India is exactly going to ensure what? That is new India consulates here. Okay, cooperation has been made in various of the summits as well, as in this UN, SCO, BRICS, and G20 as well. Of course, they have ensured that we are standing for each other, right? Along with that, trade and economic partnership has also been strengthened. Now, this clearly says that we have revised our trade targets, because you people already know when it comes on to trade from the India's perspective, we are still in deficit, right? Because what we are importing from Russia is just not equivalent to what we are exporting. So we are again in deficit. So we are actually focusing on covering that particular gap as well. This clearly says that the trade targets have been revised. US dollar 100 billion by 2030 is the target that I've set now. Okay. Along with that, India has shown a lot of improvement, a lot of focus from the perspective of EAEU, FTA, and investment protection agreement has also been signed here. Along with that, the cooperation areas have been many. For example, energy, fertilizers, minerals, precious metals, critical raw material are also part of it, right? And you people already know that the visit has been made during the time where it is already tough time for India from the perspective of US here, and there are a lot of sanctions already which have been put on Russia here. And of course, when I talk from the perspective of crude oil availability or crude oil supply in India, that is also disrupted, right? Along with that, next of the aspect here is associated with energy partnership. Oil, gas, LNG, petrochemicals, refineries are part of it, and we have focused about the underground coal gasification as well, right? Alignment with the India's target has also been ensured here, that is 100 of gigawatt nuclear capacity by 2047. So these are the things which are associated here. Next, we focused on connectivity and transport corridors as well. Push for 3 corridors has been ensured, that is international north-south transport corridor, Chennai, Vladivostok maritime corridor here, and next is northern sea routes here, right? So these are the 3 corridors where a lot of emphasis have been put. Next is about Russian Far East and Arctic cooperations as well. The framework is actually very crystal clear, that is India-Russia Far East program, right from 2024 till 2029. Sectors are actually very critical sectors here. So it consists of agriculture, mining, manpower, pharmaceuticals, diamonds, and shippings also. Of course, we are focused on defense and military technical cooperation as well. So there is a shift from a buyer-seller to co-development and co-production as well. This is a big shift that has been announced here. Joint manufacturing of spare parts for Russian origin platform has also been signed here. Of course, we have talked about the expansion of Indra, joint exercises as well. So basically, we are strengthening our Make in India, we are strengthening our relationships also. So this much is more than enough here, right? Now here, what is the importance? When I talk about increasing India's potential, and specifically in the Eurasia and the Central Asia here, because that is the area which is exactly very rich in resources, right? So maintaining our position there is also very important. Maintaining our relationships there are also very important. So yes, the focus of India has been there. Along with that, we have strengthened each other as well, right? That if you are here in this problematic situation, we are here for you, right? Similar kind of assistance, similar kind of help has been shown to India as well, right? So these are the things which have been very, very important from the examination perspective. Rest of the things you can just, see by yourself also, but these many areas which I've discussed here is super important from the examination perspective. All right. Next news says that Earth Summit 2025 has taken place. Now here, when I talk about Earth Summit, now before I started with the session, what I told you, that from the perspective of Earth Summit here, it is super important, because here it is actually, you can clearly see on your screen as well, that it has been hosted by NABARD here, okay? It has been hosted by NABARD here, who was the co-organizer, who was the co-organizer, that is Internet and Mobile Association India. Now when I talk about the entire Earth Summit here, it is actually very important for strengthening the core part of India. Again repeating, strengthening the core part of India. Now why I repeated first NABARD and of course the internet and mobile associations here, that is similarly, that is specifically from the perspective of telling you that yes, when I talk about the core India, I'm here talking about the penetration of technology in the core part of the economy. Okay, I want to empower digital transformation, and that too specifically in the cooperatives, and I want to give benefit to those individuals who are exactly sitting at the core part of the economy, as in here talking about the farmers here, okay? So to increase the farmers' income is one of the main aim of this particular Earth Summit. Along with that, I'm focusing on another important topic as well, that is self-reliant India, as in Atmanirbharta in core areas, agriculture and rural finance, right? So these are the many areas which are exactly very important from the examination perspective here. So these are the major initiatives which have been launched, right? Now here you can clearly see there is a launch of Sahakar Sarthi, and there is a launch of, there are exactly launch of 13 plus digital services as well as products also. Now what is the significance? Basically they want to help rural economy to grow. Rural economy to grow, okay? Along with that, they want to ensure that services should reach out there, right? Services should reach out there. Along with that, what is the other aspect? To give benefit to the farmers there. Okay, through what means? Maybe by ensuring credit availability there, right? Maybe awareing them as well. I want to ensure that agricultural sector should also grow. Agricultural sector should also grow. So these are the many areas which are super important. Now what are the major initiatives that has been taken? See, Kisan Credit Card आपने पहले सुना है. Now here is an availability of Digi Kisan Credit app here, right? Now when I talk about Digi Kisan Credit Card here, so you can clearly see कि यहाँ पे जो किसान क्रेडिट कार्ड है, अब now what is the focus of the government? To make it completely online, so that no paperwork is left behind, no need for paperwork, it is entirely going to get online. It means if I'm talking about Kisan credit card, it means getting loan or maybe loan availability is going to be very simple in nature. Quick loan and easy loan will be available to the farmers here, maybe for the working requirement, maybe for the long-term perspective as well, right? Next, we are having EPACs also, right? You can clearly see this cooperative societies as when I talk about EPACs here, not even from the perspective of electronics here, but when I specifically talk about PACs here, primary agriculture credit societies, everyone know about it, right? Now when I talk about primary agriculture credit societies here, so we are trying to make it electronic as well, right? So we are actually going to make it very single digital specifically system for all of the PACs. ठीक है, अब PACs बेसिकली होते क्या है, ताकि वो प्रॉपरली कोऑर्डिनेट करके एक दूसरे की हेल्प कर सके. So we want to increase coordination with each other. We want to increase the penetration of payment services, maybe other services as well. And specifically the focus is 25,000 plus, reaching to 25,000 plus PACs in that too across India, right? Hi, Amrendra, Radhe Radhe. All right. Next is very important, that is Cooperative Governance Index as well, which you can clearly see, which is CGI here, right? Now, when I talk about this Cooperative Governance Index here, so this is specifically to check that how exactly or how well cooperative banks are getting managed. This is specifically going to check the governance part here. So rating system, it is all talking about what? That is rating system here, right? Rating the cooperative work, that exactly how they are here working. So we are going to check if they are working good or maybe if they are working bad. Next is also very interesting, that is world's largest grain storage application. Okay, now when I talk about that world's largest grain storage application here, application is for what purpose? That is for monitoring only, na? That is for monitoring only. So we are exactly going to check the monitoring part here. We are going to track, we are going to manage, we are going to monitor the grain storage in India. It is exactly going to help us to know what is the food security which is there in India. We want to avoid wastages as well, right? Hi, very good evening. All right. So next talks about campaign Sarthi and website Sarthi as well, right? Now this is also very super important. Now when I talk about the campaign Sarthi as well as the website Sarthi here, it is exactly going to help cooperatives and banks to promote their work, that too very digitally here, right? Maybe this is going to help them to build their own websites so that they can cooperate in a very exact manner, so that they can work together, they can help each other to grow, right? That is what is the purpose here. Shiksha, Sarthi is also part of Shiksha. In itself is exactly very expressing here. Shiksha means what? That is education. So it means we are focusing on skills, but we want to upskill. Okay, we want to upskill the cooperative staff. Now always remember that here the focus is not at all specifically on the farmers, maybe guiding farmers, educating farmers here, but this specifically talks about the cooperative staff here, right? Upskilling cooperative staff, that is what is the purpose here. Maybe guiding them about AI, because AI is specifically very futuristic in nature, right? So maybe guiding them about AI here. Collection Sathi is also part of it. It's a kind of platform itself which is exactly going to manage the banking functions here. So that is Collection Sathi, right? So collectively they are going to work, and that too in a very, very perfect manner. Next is about the Sathi Technology Forum as well. Now when I talk about forum here, right, the team space, or maybe when I talk about the forum part here, the word itself is actually very crystal clear in nature. It specifically focuses on the team space here, right? It specifically focuses on the collaboration part as well, right? cyber security and compliance tools are also part of it. So these are the many tools which are actually very, very super important from the examination perspective, and these are the major initiatives which have been launched, right? Now, for example, you've already made your notes somewhere, right? Maybe on Kisan credit card for say, right? You've made your notes on Kisan credit card. Now try to compile it, right? Now we are having Digi or maybe e-Kisan credit card system here. For example, you've made notes already on your cooperative societies here, and wherever you've made your notes on PACS, just ensure that there's an availability, or we have introduced major initiatives as well, that is the EPACs as well, right? And for example, you get a question in your paper, okay? You get a question, and this is actually very super important. क्यों? क्योंकि जो Earth Summit 2025 है ना, इसको किसने होस्ट करा है? NABARD ने होस्ट करा है. So remember, all of those aspirants who are preparing for NABARD examination, this is super important from them, right? Maybe for example, if we get a question that what are the initiative which has been taken by the government of India, maybe to increase farming income, okay? What are the initiative which has been taken for for bringing betterment in the lives of farmers, maybe for bettering rural economy? So just remember these many things, right? These many initiatives here. Now major announcements have been done. Cooperative sector expansion. Now the target is specifically cooperative members above 50 crore people there should be, right? Along with that, there should be availability of cooperative institutions in every panchayat. This is what has been planned till now, okay? And cooperative banking framework has also been taken into consideration, which is a complete joint development between Ministry of Cooperation, and Reserve Bank of India as well, right? Now, these are the cooperative insurance here. New schemes to just integrate health insurance, life insurance, agricultural insurance, and accidental insurance as well. I think in other classes, I think Mannat ma'am is taking another class that is taken by her, and this is the class that I am taking here. Okay, all right. Now, this talks about the organic market initiatives also. Bharat Organics, Amul, which is just equivalent to national lab networks here. The main focus is just ensuring India's share, to boost the India share in global organic markets, and that too by 2035, so that it helps farmers to grow. It helps farmers' income to get boosted. So these are the many services which I've already told you, right? These are the many services which I've already told you. So you can go through these many services by yourself as well, right? ये जो है explain हमने पहले ही कर दिया है, आप इसको जो है एक बार फिर से go through कर सकते हो, ठीक है? All right. Next news says that inauguration of 125 BRO infrastructure projects has taken place. Now, when I talk about the BRO space here, so the name as in when I talk about the BRO here, so maximum people would be able to decode it. This is Border Roads Organization. मतलब हम कहीं ना कहीं जो हमारे border areas है, हम कहीं ना कहीं connectivity improve करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. अब कनेक्टिविटी का मीन क्या होता है यहाँ पे? कनेक्टिविटी मैक्सिमम टाइम्स इज जस्ट इक्विवेलेंट टू रोड्स, एंड मैक्सिमम टाइम इट इज जस्ट इक्विवेलेंट टू ग्रे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, राइट? मैक्सिमम टाइम्स इट इज जस्ट इक्विवेलेंट टू ग्रे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. नाउ sorry, it's just equivalent to grey infrastructure. Now this talks about that in these many areas here, which includes various of the states. I'll tell you in the coming slide that which states are going to be part of it, right? Now when I talk about the components here, it is actually going to include 28 roads, 93 bridges, and 4 simultaneous miscellaneous projects as well. This is what is the development that BRO is specifically planning to do. Now here, in the name of development, of course, what becomes very important to clearly ensure sustainable development, right? It should be very sustainable in nature. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि किसी भी एरिया में जहाँ पे ग्रे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की थोड़ी मिनिमम नीड है, वहाँ पे एक्सटेंसिव तरीके से जो है वो डेवलपमेंट के नाम पे सिर्फ रोड्स वगैरह जो है वो दे रहे हैं, या फिर ब्रिजेस वगैरह जो है वो दे रहे हैं. अगेन रिमेंबर, connectivity every time is just not equivalent to grey infrastructure. Complete mix of grey and green infrastructure is exactly very important here, right? And specifically blue infrastructure also, right? So just remember that. Now this is about the geographical coverage that is going to be. Now this BRO has planned to just go for these making of roads, bridges, and miscellaneous projects in these many states. You can clearly see it includes union territories as well. This includes Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, okay, and 7 states are getting covered here. This includes Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, West Bengal, and Mizoram as well. So these are the many states which are going to cover, and these are the union territories also. Now this this infrastructure, this is infrastructure 1, right? Now this infrastructure development is going to be in the eastern Ladakh, right, which is of course at high altitude, and this is very critical area as well, right? So the length, here what is going to be developed, that is Shyok Tunnel. Length is going to be 920 meters. Location is exactly very critical in nature, which is Durbuk Shok, Daulat Beg Uldi Road, Eastern Ladakh. The terrain is exactly very high altitude, extreme conditions है. Sustainable basis पे अगर होगा तो बेहतर होगा, ठीक है. Uttarakhand, total 7 projects are going to be. Key additions includes 5 critical bridges also in Niti Pass region, Chamoli, China border. Again, this area is also very super critical here. Bridges are going to be Pankti, Surey Thota, and Ghamshali and Gurtkuti, as well as Niti also. Okay, so these are the many bridges which are going to be there. Arunachal Pradesh, total 32 projects are going to be there. Of course, when I talk about the projects here, this includes Project Brahmank, Project Vartak is there, Project Arunank is there, and Udyak is also here. So these are the many projects which are part of it. Along with that, major bridges which are part of Project Brahmank here includes 35 meter of Sheen Nala. This is a kind of road here. 15 meter, Ritbung here. 40 meter of Rabung here, and 40 m of Sio Nalla here, and 40 m of Sirak Nalla, and 45 m of Naglungri, that is Tuting Bona Road, Upper Siang here. So these are the major bridges which are going to be part of it. Now, BRO financial and status and the operational status is going to be this. Of course, the expenditure which is going to be there in 2025 includes 16,690 crores. And of course, in 2026, the target is going to be reached out to 18,700 crores. The total project is going to last for, like, as in, I'm here talking about the last 2 years here, that is 356 dedicated to the nation here. And this is what is the budget enhancement that has been specifically done in the financial year of 2026. Previously, it used to be 6,500 crore. Now it has been revised and reaching out to 7,146 crore, right? So this is about the budget outlay here. All right. Next news says Rajasthan has become the first state here to achieve 100% of the digitization of the voter rolls, that is SIR 2026. Now, entirely important from phase 1 perspective only. बाकी perspective से इतना ज़्यादा important नहीं है. Phase 1 perspective से ज़्यादा है. Direct question can be asked that which was the first state to achieve 100% of the digitization of the voter rolls here. So this much is more than enough, right? You can clearly see that 100% of digitization of electoral rolls has been achieved by which state, that is specifically Rajasthan, right? Now it clearly sees the total voters that have been digitized here includes 5.46 crore. And the exercise, as in this exercise, is special intensive revision, that is SIR 2026 here, right? Now these are the digital tools and the platforms that has been used here. You can clearly see it by yourself also, Election Commission India Network and booth level officers application also, right? So using these, the news clearly see that using these applications itself, we've ensured what, that is digitalization of it. Now this is about the mapping as well as verification statistics also. Now I'll not say to you people to specifically dive deep into each and every thing in a very very detailed manner. जितना important होगा सिर्फ उतना करना ही जो है वो important है, ठीक है? तो इसमें से क्या important है, डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन अगर पूछा जाएगा तो सिर्फ स्टेट के पर्सपेक्टिव से ही पूछा जाएगा, उससे ज्यादा जो है पेनिट्रेटेड वे में आपको क्वेश्चन जो है वो नहीं पूछा जाएगा, ठीक है? Alright, so this clearly says that voter mapping accuracy has been 97% here, that is the highest entire nationwide, right? So this much information is just more than enough. Now why digitization is exactly very important, to just update and maybe verify the voter list, and maybe keeping regular checks on that just to ensure that there should be decrease in duplicacy and there are other aspects also associated with it, right? And this much is more than enough. This is super important, right? This is super important from the examination perspective. Remember, this is super important from phase 1. This is super important from phase 2 as well, ठीक है? तो ESI के portion में this is the root of ESI, right? This monetary policy part. And what is the news? Recently, 5th bi-monthly monetary policy meeting has been done, and we'll get to know that, what is it? Okay, so just cut it out. I think I compiled it from the previous part itself, ठीक है? Okay, so RBI's 5th bi-monthly monetary policy meeting has taken place here. This is what is the aspect. Now what becomes very important? देखो, हमारे लिए जो इम्पोर्टेंट है वो है कि बेसिकली किस साइड या फिर किस तरीके के जो चेंजेस है वो करे गए हैं. वी आर एक्चुअली गोइंग टू ऑब्जर्व दैट, राइट? इफ द इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स हैव बीन डिक्रीज्ड, what is going to happen in the economy? If the instruments have been increased, what is going to happen to monetary, as in money supply in the economy? Now, what stance has been taken? If that is accommodative, hawkish, if a neutral stance, that is important. Now, we are actually about the instruments as well. What is the rate, right? Now, they can ask you about the rates change in phase 1. Plus, it is very important for phase 2 as well. They can ask you from the perspective of if it has been decreased for, say, how it is going to impact my money supply. If money supply in an economy is going to be increased or decreased. So, these are the things which we people are going to discuss here. Take it. Alright, so the first thing that people need to know here, that it has been decreased, as in repo rate again has been decreased, right? Now the repo rate today is what? That is 5.25%. Now this question can be asked in phase 1 also. They can ask you directly that what has been repo rate today, okay? So this is 5.25. Now always remember, I have always told you that monetary policy जब manage करती है, जब stabilize करती है economy को, तो हमेशा दो पर्सपेक्टिव से करती है. एक तो है हमारे पास एक्सपेंशनरी मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी, एक है हमारे पास क्या, कौन सी पॉलिसी है? दैट इज कॉन्ट्रैक्शनरी, राइट? दैट इज कॉन्ट्रैक्शनरी. वी आर हैविंग टू ऑफ द मॉनेटरी पॉलिसीज दैट वर्क्स इन इट्स ओन वे. Now, when I talk about the expansionary monetary policy, again telling you, I've told you multiple times, expansionary means I am exactly working to expand monetary, as in this money supply in an economy. Now, what trick that I've told you earlier as well, always remember that these instruments, quantitative instruments and this money supply are always having indirect relationship with each other, right? If repo rate or maybe any quantitative instrument increases, of course there will be decrease in money supply in an economy. If it decreases, money supply in an economy will be increased, right? So always remember that repo rate is the rate. Of course, repo rate basically होता क्या है? देखो, अगर बैंक्स को पैसा चाहिए किसी से, तो बैंक्स किसके पास जाएंगे? आरबीआई के पास जाएंगे, है ना? आरबीआई को बोलेंगे कि देखो मेरे को शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए पैसा चाहिए, यू गिव मी, आई विल रिटर्न यू लेटर, राइट? आफ्टर कीपिंग कोलेटरल ऑल्सो, दैट इज गवर्नमेंट सिक्योरिटीज. सो रेपो रेट बेसिकली है क्या? एक ऐसा रेट है जिसके ऊपर जो आरबीआई है वो पैसा किसको देती है, लोन किसको देती है? हमारे बैंक्स को लोन देती है. अगर रेपो रेट डिक्रीज होगा, सो व्हाट विल हैपन? ऑफ कोर्स नाउ बैंक्स विल हैव extra money in their pockets and that will be supplied, or maybe when I talk about the banks here, banks are going to utilize this extra money in two of the ways. या तो वो कहीं ना कहीं पे इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, या तो वो जो बेनिफिट है they are actually going to give benefit to the customers as well, right? Customer जो benefit है वो भी मिलेगा. So if repo rate gets decreased ना, if repo rate gets decreased, the benefit is always expanded to customers also. That is the reason we always see कि अगर रेपो रेट डिक्रीज होता है तो जो हमारी होम लोन है वो कम हो जाती है, ठीक है? जो हमारा होम लोन है वो कम हो जाता है, जो रियल एस्टेट है वो थोड़ा सा अफोर्डेबल बन जाता है. दिस इज द सोल रीजन बिहाइंड इट, ओके? But this time what has happened? Of course, expansionary policy is just going on. What has happened? If the repo rate has been decreased, it means it has clearly signaled that money supply in economy is actually going to be increased. Money supply increase matlab that people are going to have more money in their pocket. People have more money in their pocket, which further leads to inflationary effects also, which is a later story, right? Now the stance which has been announced by governor this time, he clearly says that the stance is actually very neutral in nature. Neutral means that आने वाले time पे जब भी meeting होगी, तो according to the environment, according to the economy, we are going to take corrective measures, okay? जैसा ही इकोनॉमी रिएक्ट करेगी, हम उसी तरीके से जो है क्या करेंगे, हम जो चेंजेस है वो करेंगे. ना ही इन्होंने कॉम्पिटिटिव बोला है, ना ही इन्होंने हॉकिश स्टैंस बोला है. इन्होंने क्या बोला है कि वी आर एक्चुअली वेरी न्यूट्रल इन नेचर. However, economy is going to react, we will actually react in that manner only, right? So this is what is the perspective behind it. Now this entire rate is super important. I'm putting 3 asterisks here so that at least you get to know. Now we are having, this is the list which is super important from the examination perspective. These are the quantitative instruments. For sure question is going to be asked, as in बहुत बार हमने देखा है repetitive manner पे जो monetary policy जो question है वो पूछा जाता है, ठीक है? Repo rate क्या है? This is 5.25%, reverse repo rate is 3.35%, SDF is 5%, MSF is 5.50%, bank rate is 5.50%, CRR is 3% and SLR is just 18%. Now, remembering or knowing what is the meaning of these many instruments is part of your static portion. If you're still confused about it, I request you get your static portion done, get your basics done, and then only focus towards the current portion here, right? Now, this is something which is a story of the real GDP projection as well. Now, clear-cut question can be asked in the phase 1 also. They can ask you that what are the observations by RBI, right? Now, this clearly says that the forecast that has been given by RBI here for the financial year 2026 stands at 7.3%. Okay, and when I talk about Q2 की जो actual growth थी वो क्या थी 8.2% थी, ठीक है ना. This is a quarterly bag, you know, okay, this is a quarterly breakdown also. You can see it by yourself also. This is the inflation outlook. You can clearly see that when I talk about the CPI medium term inflation here, of course this is a target, right, which remains 4% रहता है, plus minus 2% होता है. तो यही स्टेबल करना किसका काम है? हमारी बैंक का काम है, हमारी आरबीआई का काम है. This is specifically to bring stabilization in economy along with ensuring growth in an economy, right? But अगर मैं यहाँ पे फाइनेंशियल ईयर की सीपीआई इन्फ्लेशन की बात करूँ, इट हैज बीन रिवाइज्ड टू 2%, क्योंकि भी लास्ट टाइम पे क्या होता, Q3 का जो फाइनेंशियल ईयर का जो हमारा स्पेसिफिकली जो सीपीआई है दैट वाज स्टैंडिंग एट 0.6%, विच इज ऑफ कोर्स नॉट गुड, है ना. इतना ज्यादा जो कम इन्फ्लेशन भी किसी भी इकोनॉमी के लिए बेहतर नहीं है. इट हैज टू बी रिमेन इन बैलेंस. सो ऑफ कोर्स वी आर एक्सपेक्टिंग, एज एन आरबीआई इज एक्सपेक्टिंग टू ब्रिंग इट back to the 2%. This is a story about CAD, as in current account deficit here. Now this clearly says that जो Q2 का जो financial year 2026 का data है, that stands at 1.3% of the GDP here. Okay, although it clearly says कि services export में थोड़ी सी robustness आई है, और just because of the rupee depreciation also जो remittances है वो थोड़े से increase हुए हैं, है ना, क्योंकि rupee depreciation से जो एक चीज में जिसको फायदा मिलता है वो है remittances है, money as in पैसा जो कि बाहर से हमारे इंडिया में आ रहा है, ठीक है ना. ये फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स जो हमारे कितने हैं, दैट इज $686.2 बिलियन. दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ ए स्टैटिक पोर्शन. जहां पे भी आपने फॉरेक्स रिजर्व्स के नोट्स बना के रखे हैं, आप उसको वहां पे कंपाइल करके ये जो डेटा है वो लिख सकते हो, ठीक है. इंपोर्ट कवर हमारे पास कितना है, दैट इज 11+ months, राइट. दिस इज ऑल्सो सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट. नाउ दिस इज अबाउट द ओपन मार्केट ऑपरेशंस एज वेल. नाउ OMO purchases that have been made by RBI here is just equivalent to 1 lakh crore, just to bring stabilization in economy, right? And this is about the swap selling as well. All right, so all about it. Next is about the question answers here. Now tell me that the Earth Summit 2025 was inaugurated at which venue here? Is it Pragati Maidan, Mahatma Mandir, India Habitat Center? Is it Vigyan Bhavan, Birsa Munda Convention Center? Where it has taken place? Where it has taken place? Come on, be very quick. All right, so B exactly is the correct answer. That is Mahatma Mandir, Gandhinagar. Superb. Next question says Shok Tunnel inaugurated under BRO is located on which road? Is it Sojila Dras Road? Is it specifically Balipara Tawang Road? Is it Durbuk Shok DBO Road? Is it Niti Pass Road या फिर ऋषिकेश जोशीमठ Road? Okay, anyone else? All right, good. So C exactly is the correct answer. That is 920 meters. Okay. All right. Next question says that Rajasthan digitized what total number of voter records under SIR 2026? 3.2, 4.1, 5.46, 6.2 या फिर 7.0 crores. Okay, anyone else? All right. So C exactly is the correct answer here. All right. What is the revised repo rate that has been announced in RBI's 5th by MPC 2000 of financial year 2026? Is it 4.755% here, 5% here, 5.25, 5.50 या फिर 6%? All right, good. Anyone else? Superb. Superb. All right, so C exactly is the correct answer here. So just don't remember, if you just don't understand it from this perspective only कि repo rate ही पूछा जाएगा, जो हमारे बाकी instruments है, they are also super important. All right, so thank you so much for joining the session. I hope the session was exactly very interesting for all of you. I have explained it in a so much extensive manner. I hope that I hope specifically that every individual got their answers here, and the news is also very crystal clear to everyone here, right? All right, so thank you so much for joining the session. Now I'll meet you in the now I'll meet you tomorrow at the same time and with a similar kind of important news from your examination perspective. All right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great evening. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you.